Wow. And it reverted back to what it was before the crash. Ah, fucking friggin'. Okay, well now we're live, but I have to fiddle with everything again, so... Here's me being really large on the screen. Oh no!
Yay, big zombie grub. Yo, girl, were you working out earlier today?
Yes, I was.
Nice.
There's no follow-up to that.
No, I know you work out almost every day. Follow-up would be, I guess, I don't have any good puns for this. So I guess just damn it's showing. There you go, compliment. Didn't see that coming.
Yeah. I guess BM King Prime is Scoot and Boot.
Scoot and boot. Doot and a boot, scoot and doot. Boot, boot, beat, beat, beat it, boot.
Okay, now we have everyone in the game, I assume. Okay, we're good to go. Enough people have said go, so I'm gonna go.
Okay, it's a risky move, Cotton. We'll see if it pays off.
I know, right? Well... This also means the overlay is not going to be as close as it was when I moved it after you complained.
You embarrass yourself.
I do not. See, I could... It snaps! Stop snapping!
Ah, I have pulled the zombie grip this time, and I forgot to change my TV2 overlay. So,
Ha-ha! Ha-ha!
luckily, I'm not streaming, though. So it's not a problem.
That's true. Alright, so this is a best of 5, and it is 1-1, and I actually think that the overlay has them in the correct pairs, so that's cool. In the bottom left on Seething Jungle, it's the orange Protoss Vicious Viper, and the teal Zerg Gingy for RIT.
And of course, playing for UMass, it's going to be the combination of the pink Zerg Legacy and his purple teammate, BM King Prime.
Yep. Okay, so we actually, we have specific stats for, their 2v2s, their Archon, how much they've actually won, which is pretty cool. Of course, UMass being just 0-5 is not looking very hot, and their map scores individually, too, are also not very good. So I almost feel bad about bringing their scores up, but they're 1-9 in 1v1 and 0-3 in 2v2. So their 2v2 team not looking so hot, whereas for RIT, their 2v2 team is actually 5-0. They have been carrying their team, I think.
Apparently, damn.
Yeah.
Of course, 2v2 is a very different world, I guess you could say.
Mm-hmm. I'd say so. It's entirely different with the combination of two races. There's no stacking in the CSL, so sometimes you see some people play random on the hopes it'll be stacked. I don't think we've seen a single stacked team yet. Actually, the random has not been in favor.
I just sit here nodding, shaking my head. Why is that a rule? Who considers 2v2 stacking by having two races? It's actually a lot of worse cases. Probably gonna be worse for you if you're both Terran, and neither of you can deal with Protoss. I'm not the one who makes the rules, obviously, and I'm not trying to judge too harshly. I think it's a silly rule, and I think it does take away a lot of the fun aspect of 2v2s, but it has made for some wonky games, and truth be told, I can't remember who the teams were last time, but the last 2v2 we cast in the CSL was perhaps the best CSL match we've seen, period, including all the 1v1s.
That's true. It was a very fun back and forth, and I don't know if we'll see it here again with the respective scores. I think that RIT is going to be looking pretty good, but we'll see. Yeah, I don't know about the stacking. It might have been something that it was, archaic from maybe, the first year of Starcraft, or even, the third year of Starcraft for the CSL. I'm not sure. But things were so different then that a lot of things that are left over look kind of odd, such as, the gas geyser for the Protoss having more health. But if the CSL had trouble with stacking at any point, they might just put the rule in. Maybe they think that it is less fun to be stacked, and the thing is that we have very limited, professional 2v2 experience because there's not really a 2v2 scene, but of what we got from our 2v2 tournaments, stacking was never very ideal. Two Zergs, they sound strong with double, 8 pools at the time, but they actually weren't. So I don't know. These guys did not bother trying to stack, actually. They all chose their races, I believe. Yep. Zerg and Protoss, Zerg and Protoss. Jinji is getting in here with quite a few speedlings. Now, the reason we always see Zerg is usually because, you know, one of them's going to attack and one of them has to defend against the said Zerg attack. Unfortunately, Legacy not doing a very good job being that defender. Unfortunately, Protoss, also not very good in the early game, is looking to be overwhelmed here if it's not careful. 2 pylon overcharges and take care of that.
You know, already getting a little bit scurry.
Yeah. Now, this aggression is only going to do, well, as much as it can. It's not going to be helped out from his partner, Vicious Viper, who is just macroing up behind it. So a very good, solid tactic, especially with a Protoss who thrives in the later stages of StarCraft 2. Usually, although Legacy of the Void, it's debatable, I suppose. But I like the idea. It's going pretty well. He did a lot of damage to Legacy.
Actually, I just realized, yeah, like, every time we cast these TVTs, we always discuss the Protoss player comes out ahead. This is the first time I think we've ever had 2 Protoss in the game. So which Protoss player comes out ahead? Question mark.
Yeah. We've seen a mirror matchup before with ZT, but not ZP. So
Right,
the
so
Lings...
the Lings, they run right past those Banelings, and
Yes,
they're
they
going to
do.
spread out and look to get a couple of probe kills. Nothing too dangerous initially. Probes just getting pulled. Banelings on the left side, or on the right side, excuse me. And this TM really doesn't take too much damage.
Oh. Yeah, not too much damage. It's just that Legacy took so much damage early on. He lost an entire drone line on the natural at one point. So that's, we do have Jinji, the aggressor, still being the one ahead in this game. So not looking so hot for our UMass team. Both Zergs going up to a lair, although Legacy's a lot later. The Protoss, of course, for RIT looking a lot better. Vicious Viper. We don't have the graphs for 2v2, but you can actually still check the income, and you can just see that he's probably been on top for quite some time, with his partner just a little bit behind. And I'm sure doing the engagements, he was actually really far ahead.
We've never tested it. I wonder if the graphs even work in a 2v2 before.
I just did. They did actually before the updated graph mod. I remember checking, and it was a combination of the two.
Right, I was going to say, then how would it measure that? That's insane, but okay, that makes sense.
Yeah, but now it doesn't. It just zooms in. Alright, so we actually have a robotics bay coming down from Vicious Viper, which is very interesting.
Oh, let's just see a numlock not hit. Make sure numlock's on and hit 1. It works.
Oh, yeah, you're right. I don't know. Oh, I know I hit numlock. So I was testing out the Overwatch controls, in Overwatch, like, spectator mode, and I was just hitting all the buttons.
What's this do? What's that do? What's this do?
Like 90% of the buttons don't do anything. So it was pretty pointless.
You mean none of them bring up the minimap?
I was actually trying to figure out how to get the first-person view of, like, if you had, you know, you see when they go into it and it makes it look like you're watching a first-person stream.
I actually don't, so I'm not helping.
Yeah, well, I couldn't figure out how to do it, but I know that people do it when they cast tournaments, so I was just like, what is this magic? So that's why I was like pressing Alt and Shift with a bunch of things, and I just couldn't figure it out. I googled it, but I searched Overwatch spectator controls. You know what came up? Fucking CSGO.
I pulled a Google, guys. I used the Google, and it didn't reveal nothing.
The Google machine failed me. Anyways. Not talking about Overwatch. Although,
I've been kind of deflects, which is interesting because we're finally, for the first time in a long time, seeing some higher tech come up here in the 2v2 scene. We got Disruptors and Storms from Orange, so crazy area of effect. But both the Zerg teams are going for Mutalisks, and if it's Muta versus Muta in the sky, a couple of Storms here and there could really help and go a long way, but it could also hurt his teammate a lot depending on how this gets used.
yeah, for the Zerg in a 2v2, it's a tough decision between trying to go for Mass Muta, because Mass Muta can be so difficult to deal with, and going for a more stable composition that can take a head-on fight, which is going to be Roach Hydra. If one person is going to get away with Mutas, as this game is pretty even, actually, despite the early game lead for RIT, then I do like the counter Mutas. That's going to be the safest way to deal with it, unless Vicious Viper was willing to... or either Protoss was willing to go for double Stargates. We do have 12 mutas coming out for Legacy. The mutas of Jinji would only be at a count of 7 or 8, because he's bothering to get upgrades for his Lings, which he might regret later on, because it is going to be a muta versus muta war. Jinji is only going to get so much help from Vicious Viper, who has gone for mostly ground units here. Of course, the Disruptors, some Zealots, High Templars. They're not exactly pure ground, but they're just not very fast, you know, so they're going to have a tough time defending all of their bases. A couple of mutas do come in here and alerted, so maybe change the carapace, the attack to a carapace. I don't know why you would start a corruptor. It's not ideal. That's a mistake. It's a mistake. Losing the third base is also a pretty big snipe for Legacy, who took so much damage in the early game, and is getting some revenge on Gingy here. But the Protoss army is going to move out and try and get the mutas to respond.
That Protoss army looks really good too. This is really scary.
Huh,
Gingy going to take out the banelings. Nicely done. Good hit, landed.
Gingy went for double upgraded Lings and Mutas, yet has a sizable Roach force, which is a lot to see. The third did go down, and now the Mutas are returning. They're not really in a high enough number to take on an army fight if it was mass playing soccer, but there's only a couple of Stalkers in here.
There's actually, in general, not a lot of anti-air. No
Yeah.
Archons being made. Truth be told, the Mutas aren't going to take that much damage from Storms either. They're quick enough to move out of them. This is a bit odd. A little bit hesitant to come in, but there we go. Now going to look for some snipes. Mutas get on top of the Mutas.
That one odd Corruptor just is like, I'm going to help. I'm going to soak all the Glaive Worms. Watch me.
That Disruptor is the ponytail to this, I'll call it.
It really is. Just hanging out behind. But oh well. This Protoss army that had a War Prism could easily reinforce with more Stalkers, but the Stalkers are coming across the field, reinforcements too.
I mean,
the other Protoss
Rochester's
army
landing some good storms.
is not so bad, and Storms, Storms the Mutas.
So close.
Oh no, the Disruptors. Do not get good hits.
Are not good hits, no, certainly not. The Roaches aren't helping much. Without Gingy supplying support to this army and all the Storms being out, the Mutas really have no threat to them. The Stalkers are still alive at the back end, and I guess they're going to start focus firing some of these Mutas down. Now the Storm goes down to catch some of the Mutas. Starting to push in, and you know, those Roaches, I thought they were useless before, but they're a nice amount of fluff to just add in, and that's supply difference now between the two teams, growing larger and larger.
Yeah, just add the top two and add the bottom two, and you'll see that there's quite the difference. So it looks like RIT is going to continue their perfect score in 2v2, and, well, unfortunately, UMass is keeping their perfect score too, but in the opposite way. It's pretty disappointing for them, I guess. Their Archon team, actually, which is guaranteed to come up next, of course, it's only 1-1, although it's probably going to be a win for RIT. For the Archon, it's actually, that's where Rochester really fails. They're the ones that are 0-4 in Archon, along with, well, UMass being 0-3, but might have a better luck here in the Archon than in the 2v2. And it's gonna be game. Just too overwhelming.
Yeah. When numbers hit too hard, GG, UMass will take the defeat.
Yes, they will. Okay, so we're going to get the Archon mode match set up, which is going to take equal amounts of time, because it's still 4 players. Change to 1v1. There we go. And, I guess this might be a good time to go ahead and play that video, so... you might hear some Starcraft 2 noises in the background, but hopefully whatever is shown in the commercial can go ahead and, I don't know, drown it out, so... Take us a little bit of a break. See you guys when the commercial ends, I guess. Hopefully not too long. Oh, darn it. That's right. The OBS reset itself, so I have to re-add the video. Great. No. Actually, you're gonna restart that just because I thought there was going to be sound. And I don't know if that's intentional. It's not on my side. I definitely checked to see if sound was being outputted. It is, but... Okay, that was super quick. Just a little commercial for their sponsors. I'm pretty sure it's supposed to have audio. I get that checked out, I guess, for the playoffs, of course, which will be coming in 2 weeks. Next week will just be spring break, basically. Even if your actual college is not on spring break, that's what they're calling it. The 2v2 teams are going to be Legacy yet again and Scoot and Boot yet again. Same guys from the last one, so BM King Prime. As Zerg, Scoot and Boot was Protoss. And then I Love Coloring and Icarus as the Archon.
I Love Coloring has proved his stripes. Again, he played 1v1s before. He's also played with, I believe it was I Love Poke Bunny in the preseason stuff for the Archon mode, so we know he knows his way around the Archon mode match.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
Of course,
so,
if they win this, then it's all over for the night.
yeah, if Rochester wins this, it'll be all over. But it looks like Icarus is missing in action. So we'll get the mod admin in here.
And I guess technically, if your teammate's missing, you could still go through with the Archon mode. You couldn't do it in a 2v2, obviously, but like an Archon mode match, right? You could technically still play.
Yeah. I wonder, I don't know if that's an option.
I mean, it was not so vocally, but later learned that a lot of the CSL Archon mode teams were doing just that anyways. They couldn't find a proper teammate, so they just have somebody queue with them and go AFK.
Yeah. I mean, it's something that a lot of tournaments have realized would be an opportunity, and I think one or two even made like legit rules that said you couldn't do that, but how would you ever check it? Well,
Right.
most others just say like, please don't.
This would be hilarious, by the way, if this was like the one time CSL actually enforced some rules.
I was gonna say in a I guess a more PC way that they've been kind of loosening the rules otherwise, that they just want to get the games played. They're not so worried about like, where you hear like exactly at 9 o'clock or whatever, or we don't have to do the ones necessarily in order. So I don't know if they'll be loose on this rule. It's supposed to be like an extreme detriment if you don't have your Archon partner, but sometimes it actually is a real benefits if you're already a pretty good player yourself. I Love Color will be trying to locate said partner, so I'm just gonna have to fill some downtime. What else is new?
So I had a joke I was going to tell earlier when the stream crashed. Do you want me to tell it now?
Sure.
Zombie Grub.
Yes.
What do turtles do on their birthday?
What?
They celebrate.
Ah, waha. That's weird.
All right, so they're giving them about a 15-minute clock, but I guess we'll see how this plays out. Hopefully, their teammate will show up. I mean, it would suck too because Rochester, like, again, there we go. Icarus is here. We're good. Fantastic.
Cool. Okay. Say when ready. So it is going to be a ZVZ of an Archon mode match. I've seen a couple of these actually. I don't know what it is about Archon. Scoot and Boot, PM King Prime did have to sacrifice his main race, his Protoss, to help his partner out here, so he's probably going to be the microer. It does seem to be better to let the person who's the main race be the macro. They're going to know the builds,
Well,
they're going to know the reactions.
It's interesting because we've talked about this many times in our tournaments where with players, especially that Archon mode, Zerg is like the hardest one to actually Archon with. Just the way you produce larvae and create units and rally them forward, like it's very different than the other races, so it's a bit harder to play. So I mean, both teams kind of taking the difficult approach to things.
Yeah, we certainly we started Legacy of the Void by Archon moding. Like as soon as that came out and was available, we were like, let's try this. And we randomed a lot. And that was the first thing that I noticed was that, we did Terran and we kind of flowed. And I was like, well, maybe it's because we're both Terran. And Protoss wasn't so bad. But Zerg was just like, especially ZDZ, with those Ling Wars, I was just like, what's happening? And he literally could not even tell me, quick enough what was happening because a Baneling hit would explode. And he'd be like, oh, shit.
Yeah, I goofed. It's over. We lose.
So, it's just so difficult. A lot of the scouting is attacking and controlling correctly, and the flow of ZVZ is just so not standard as opposed to a TVT where really it's just, you know, is he one basing? Yeah. Okay, we're gonna defend. He's got tanks? Yeah. Okay, make sure not to lose your tanks. Like, it seems a lot easier. Um. Okay, so I don't know what was happening there, but it looks like maybe they're ready to go. Yeah, they're ready to go. Let's get the other team ready up. Alright. You know, this game is going to be on terraces, so gold bases for every Zerg. Hooray!
And you get a gold base. And you get a gold base.
Hooray!
Everyone check under your seats. There's gold minerals.
I wish. That'd be cool. Okay, here we go. So, best of 5. In the bottom right, their team is now down 1. It is the Archon team, the Blue Zero Archon team of Legacy and BM King.
It is worth noting, not only they down 1, but this could be their last life. If they lose this, then the night is over, and victory will go to the other team. Spawning in the top left, playing for Rochester, it's I Love Colorin and Icarus.
Yep, last life. They both do not have very good scores, however, in Archon, as opposed to the last one, where Rochester actually had like a great score in 2v2. I think they were definitely the favorites to win, and they did end up winning, of course. This one is more evenly matched, even though, you know, I remember I Love Coloring, and I loved his use of lings, you know, years ago, I guess, at this point, back in Heart of the Storm, maybe even when he was at Liberty was the first time that I saw him, but he just hasn't been doing so hot in CSL. He played at least one 1v1 match where he faced someone else who was really good, like Intense maybe, I think, so that didn't go so well for him. And just 2v2, an Archon mode in general does have a different flow to it, so I don't know if he's being hampered by his partner here, or it actually really helps, and he's still just having bad luck with the matches. I don't know.
Yeah, we've actually talked about it quite a bit, where you know, players like Bales, for example, like 2 different instances of his teammate lagging out, and both times wins after he's kind of dropped the dead weight type thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, a little bit. Never feels good to be that person that is a dead weight. That happens though. Like we 2v2, or yeah, I keep saying 2v2. We Archon moded each other with 2 pro gamers. Like I had Illusion and you had someone else, I think. And Illusion was just like, don't touch anything. I was like, okay. I swear I actually know how to play Terran though. No, don't touch anything. Okay. He gave me like Hellions.
I don't remember that. But I'm not saying I disbelieve it. We just do so much Starcraft, I actually don't remember it.
You may not have been playing. You might have cast it or something. Like I don't remember, but I do remember.
I feel like this is
being
probably
like,
something you did at like a DC LAN rather than
no,
us,
no, definitely not. No, this was like when we were dicking around on our own personal streams back when Legacy of the Void was new.
Okay.
And we're just like, here's like a couple of pro gamers are here. Let's do something.
Sure,
If you've
you
done
say
once
so.
or twice, I do say so.
Yeah, and I'm agreeing. Why are you turning this into a thing? Like, what the fuck?
I mean, you're gonna turn everything now. I was gonna transition into they're both going for a Baneling nest and Ling speed. Calm down there. I do like the Overlord pattern of I love coloring in Icarus a little bit more now. On Preon Terraces, you have to be careful about these positions, like where the drone's going right now, because that's where Banelings are going to form if they went for a really early pool. But as someone went for an early pool, and they're actually doing a bit of a macro game here, although this Rotor might say otherwise. We'll see. The Overlords through the middle are going to be able to see what's reinforcing and what they have to prepare for, which is really quite important. And that's also where ZVZ can be hard to be in Archon mode with, because the macro player is usually checking on the Overlords, not the micro player. But the micro player needs to know too.
It's interesting that these Overlords would be the positions they are too, because we've seen actually, just think on every ZVZ, I feel like if not 14-14 pools, earlier pools where you're sneaking links around the sides of the map, and you know usually you don't have the opportunity to have those scouts down the middle. But neither team having played Cheese in a ZVZ, it's already kind of interesting the direction this is heading. Now, maybe it's Roaches and Ravagers, maybe it's Mutalisks. I think with the amount of Mutalisk games we've cast most recently, it's been fairly obvious that Mutas do seem to be the best in a lot of situations.
Yeah, Mutas seem to be king, if you can get there. If you can get there. This is still an open option, even though that's, you know, we have RIT with a Roach Warren. It's still an option to go for a Spire. Even with this third base, they go for a later Spire. It's dangerous if anyone had decided to all in, but no one did decide to. I thought maybe a Yellow Zerg would, just because the Roach Warren was coming down around the same time as the Baneling Nest and Speed Finishing. You hit it all with the, you know, the combo of units. They could be very powerful all in, but it wasn't. It was just to get a very safe 2-base layer up. Going for the very safe, not gold base. I actually do not like the way that I Love Coloring and Acres is playing this. I actually like our UMass guys a lot more. Getting that third base was pretty nice for them.
Now, there's something to be said where Archon mode, even in the best situations, can mess up a little bit. For example, let's say they got good synergy, they're talking back and forth, communication, but in the middle of the battle, one player's ego takes over and decides to take over the other person's job. You suddenly have units trying to run both different directions, you run into corrosive bios, you eat baneling hits. I mean, there's a lot of ways that this can go south for a player that's, again, I like their build a lot better too, but they have not exactly won the game just yet. Still quite a bit away from that.
This is not a very big roach attack, but it is hitting when they're just not prepared for it. They don't have spine crawlers, they only have lings, and their Spire is about to finish, so they shouldn't even lose the third base. But I think there is an opportunity not to take any damage whatsoever, and now here the lings come for those roaches.
Good surround. Good surround.
Yeah. So really not so bad, and I still, well, actually with the mutas being able to come out no problem now, I am really worried for our Yellow Zerg. I think this is going to go to an ace match, but still a little too early to tell. We have more roaches. They're going to be able to buy time for spore crawlers, for a Hydralisk Den, for an infestation pits, but dealing with mutas is so damn difficult, and they did nothing to hamper the muta counts. So, I'm going to try it again. Moving in here. The mutas are going to come, but it's a lot more roaches, so it's still going to take a while for them to clean it up.
The mutas, they will clean this up, but it's that question of, like, the eventuality. Like, how long does this take? Now, it looks like they're getting some pretty good damage on it. I don't think I Love Coloring and Icarus are going to get a snowball with this, especially because they're not running the main, just chasing a couple of rogue drones in the middle of the map. More mutas coming out after this, but seven spore crawlers go down on the other side of the field. Really paranoid about dealing with these mutas.
As they should be, but the Hydralisk Den is usually not the correct choice, believe it or not. It can be, especially if you're banking a lot of minerals and gas and you get them out before the mutas get on your side of the map. But actually, Infestation Pit usually comes down soon, or first, for like pro gamers in this situation. Reason being is that Hydras actually don't do so well against mutas in low counts. The Glaive Worm actually is king on top of the Hydralisk. If it's Hydralisk plus Queens plus Spore Crawlers, well then, you know, anti-air is anti-air and you're good to go. But you just have to be careful while rallying those Hydralisk out. There's going to be 15 mutas versus about 9 Hydras. If they catch them in transit, they could definitely take them down.
The Hydras, as you mentioned, you know, you pair those up with some fungal growths, you get something extra into it, that's fine, but just straight up, Hydras, forget the mutas for a moment, the Banelings will take care of those. Yeah,
that is the other problem with mutas. You just don't know what your opponent is doing. They could be transitioning into their own roaches, where even still, pure Hydra wouldn't be ideal, and they could be transitioning into Ultralisk, pure Hydra, not ideal, or they'd be going for Banelings, which just Hydras again, not ideal. So they will eventually have to add a buffer of more roaches, but also the infestors. They do need to secure 3 bases though, which they've mostly done here. The initial muta attack did not do a ton of damage, and it's usually a good sign, because if it starts, it just never stops, you know? But now they're on 4 bases. They got the gold base up and mining entirely now, as opposed to before, only like, you know, 4 or 5 drones on it, and they're even getting upgrades. So this is looking like a good game for Blue Zerg. The Yellow Zerg is playing the slow and steady type of race. They're going to get up to an ideal composition and hopefully take a really good fight and then be able to take care of their opponent that way, as opposed to through harassment and frustration, which is what the Mutas players are going to be looking to do. So annoying. Even taking a 5th base here. The Muta players are going to have that map control. Now, what they should do is definitely, yeah, okay, and they are. They're going to bring an Overseer. You don't want them to get free vision with their creep. It's just something that you should not let them allow, because why would you ever? It's free pickings, literally, for the mutas. It's also going to benefit them in the actual fights. The roaches and hydras are going to benefit more than what is usually coming out from the Muta player, which is just pure Lings. But in this case, actually would be Banelings too, so they actually would benefit from that. The Banelings are morphing in. They got speed. There's no creep over here, so...
I mean, there's going to be a lot of them, too. This is 30-something Banelings. Hell, this will even do damage to the Roaches and the Ravagers. Forget the Hydras for a moment. Just the amount of splash damage here is going to be insane. Let's not forget, they've even got upgrades. That's more damage.
Yeah. I mean, it was an impressive defensive setup, and I'm really glad that Yellow Zerg pulled back. You really aren't supposed to push out anyways without Infestors, but especially in such a position as they were. Mutas come in here, of course, going to pick off a Spore Crawler, because that's just not going to cut it after, like, 2 minutes. If they could get the Infestation Pit, that would actually be a really good pick-off. The Hydralistan is good, too, but not as important as this Pathogen Gland research. Got some Lings going to the 4th base. It has already been remade once, so... do want to save it, not going to be able to. Oh, Ling's running in here, but there's so many Banelings. It's not going to do anything.
Oh, even inefficient Baneling hits are still not going to be that big of a deal because there are so many. Mutas are sitting at the top, and I mean, this is where it's really great. You just give one play to Mutas and say, go ham. Unfortunately, this player's not going ham and not doing too much while this goes on. Now the Infestors are going to be popping out, and they do have fungal growths ready to go from the spawn point. So if they get trapped, yeah, it's actually not that much anti-air to follow it up, funny enough. Ravagers are actually a lot more dangerous in this situation than the Hydras. 13 more Mutalisks are coming, though, and this is, the game could be dependent here on a good fungal. Like, one good fungal could shut this down.
Usually what it comes down to for the Roach Hydra player. Now, you can also go up to a Hive, either one of them could. Of course, we know that they already have the Infestation Pits, but Legacy and BM King also getting an Infestation Pits. I think that was the next step. Mass Muta can actually end the game just through harassment alone in like a straight-up base trade, just as it would versus a Protoss or a Terran, but you also have these really beautiful options of taking control over the game, getting the better economy, and going up to a Greater Spire and Ultralisk Cavern, which should solidify the win for you. So I like the choice here. They're both going up to Hive, so that is nice to see. Vipers will be included in this. They don't do as much damage as before, but they are still an AoE spell, and they're also, of course, flying, so they'll be able to scare the Mutas a little bit more than the ground army.
You know, one of the bigger effects here for these fungals, too, well, they really want to land them on the Mutas. It won't be too bad to hit this on the Banelings either, just remove them from the fight, considering how much of an army this makes up. 30 Banelings are more than even the Lings on the ground. But the Mutas picking off reinforcements. They kill like 3 Hydras for free. Not too bad.
Yeah, Yellow Zerg is going to be very, very careful. Trying to split up the Infestors to be a little bit cheeky here, but it's not going to work. Most of the army goes forward.
Banelings. Oh,
yeah. So he intentionally sniped that Overseer, and I think Yellow Zerg noticed, which is why they're so hesitant. But maybe not. They do not have an Overseer.
I don't think they know.
Oh,
we're gonna have a big hell of an unburrowing coming out of Legacy, and oh my God, they collide on everything. But is that gonna be enough? Fungal growth's going a bit of a panic now with all the energy drain. The Mutas come back in, and they should be able to clean this up.
Yeah, that's not enough anti-air for that. Even the Ravager shot's not gonna cut it.
That was cool. I like that because, you know, that's the thing about Archon mod. You get to send a player dedicated. All right, you watch these Banelings. Your only job for the next 2 minutes is make sure all these Baneling hits in the most damage possible.
Yeah,
they wrecked that army. That was like, oh my gosh.
That was RIT's only army. You really don't have that much of a bank going for this composition against Mutalisk, and of course their 4th base had a lot of trouble getting up.
Well, let's not forget, these guys are the ones that we thought were going to take the series by storm. They're up to 1. We might actually go to the ace match at this rate.
Yeah. I felt pretty good about Blue Zerg's chances just from the get-go. I seemed that they really did seem to have a better grasp on Zerg versus Zerg, or just better communication, maybe. But this is going to be RIT's 5th loss in Archon, and the first win, actually, for the Archon team of UMass.
Yay!
Yeah!
I love that they did it with really cool tactics, too. Like, the mass-powered Banelings was one thing, the Mutas were to be expected, but the fact that those 2 things synergized so well were just awesome. Sniping off the Overseer, excuse me, it was a hard task to pull off, and now they're following up with Ultras, so even if I Love Color and Icarus don't get the hint that the game's over, they will once those Ultras start popping.
Yeah. They gotta have a feeling that's over. Oof, damn. Is that me? No.
No, it's I Love Coloring. He is just like, this, I'm out, peace.
It's okay, I put no match history, so it doesn't show up on your profile anyways.
There you go. Good guy, Zombie Grab. She's got your back.
It's called habit right there. Last couple of Vipers going down to 3 Mutas. Ling Flood's gonna be able to take out the army. Yeah, go for it. They got the upgrades. They got the numbers. GG. Well played.
All right, so it is going to tie things up 2-2, and UMass is not going down without a fight.
No, they are not. Let's go to the ace match. I gotta imagine Poke Bunny's gonna be thrown out for Rochester, but who will be thrown out for UMass? Either Legacy or Song Sang Neem. Actually, Legacy can't. He played in both the 2v2 and Archon, so I'm gonna guess Song Sang Neem. We'll see.
All right, well, cool, cool,
Yeah.
cool.
The formats, if you're unfamiliar, is this best of 5, that 1v1, 1v1, 2v2, Archon. Those have preset maps. This one has a preset map too, but those are also preset players. Like you get the roster and you can see like, okay, we're facing Zerg and we're going on this map. This one is a surprise. You know, they're gonna unveil the curtains, Pro League style, and you're gonna see Flash and Jong BB there. But of course, in this case, it's going to be probably Poke Bunny and someone else. I really don't know UMass's plan here. The captains of the team are going to be deciding. The coordinators, whatever they want to be called. So, Ninja is one of them, and Spacey GY4 is the other. I didn't even see that guy talk. Yeah. Probably watching the stream, so we'll see it in 2.5 minutes. I tried to play music, but I think my internet broke. Like my browser is it's not working.
Oh, that's not good.
No, just kidding. So that's odd. I had Monster Cat up, and I went to a couple of different Monster Cat videos, and it stayed paused no matter what. And then I just hit play on a Broodwar video I had open, and that worked. Let's try the Monster Cat again. Okay, now it works. Whatever.
Sounds to me like you borked it, man, and there's just no recovery at this point in Zombie Grove.
Right?
May as well just completely give up.
So I've like been really paranoid about OBS ever since the webcam cord disaster. There's been really odd issues with my volume mixer before it just gets confused or something, and it's like, I don't know, does Google come play music? I don't think so. I just won't let it play. Computers are great though, despite that.
He's like such a bitter old person. You're like, oh, well, it's 2016. I mean, it's to be expected.
So
It'd be hilarious if UMass was like, oh, we didn't expect to get this far. Like, normally we lose a lot of these games, guys, so we didn't have an ace match ready to go. Give us a sec to figure this out. Ooh.
Yeah, I don't think I quite hit the point home, because I kind of wanted to gloss over it almost. It was such a bad map score, but they only had 1 win before tonight. Like,
Yeah.
out all, like, maps.
Like, and it's not even glossing over to BBM or anything. It's just that's the facts, right? Like,
Yeah. So, this is actually a pretty good day for them. They're wishing this would have been more days throughout the CSL. Of course, the winning this tournament is going to get you live tournaments at the DreamHack Austin, which is pretty cool in itself.
Yeah.
And it's also going to get you scholarship money. So, all these poor college nerds. I want
that's
it.
just condescending, is what that is.
No, it's not. Nerds hasn't been condescending ever since Tasteless was born.
I don't know, man. I don't know if I'm okay with this level of hate speak.
No, nerds are cool thanks to the Big Bang Theory.
Oh, stop right now. I will disassociate myself from you in every way possible.
No, but nerds are so cool. Ha ha ha.
Butt nerds.
Uh,
Would butt nerds be porn stars, actually?
butt nerds? People that
Yeah.
are pretty interested in butts?
Yeah. I mean, not trying to put them down or nothing. I'm just saying.
Maybe. Maybe that should be the name of your porn company when you build one.
Why do you assume I make a porn company?
Because you had such a good name for it.
I
Like,
consume smut. I don't produce it. Hello?
like, if you think of a really good name for something, shouldn't you just make it?
So what would my porn company name be? Exactly.
What you just said.
Butt nerds?
Butt nerds. Focusing on one type of porn in particular.
Well, when you put it like that, Zombie Grub, I mean, I am an ass man, so it makes a bit of sense.
Are you?
Yeah, we've been over this on stream before.
I don't remember. You know, I try and keep track for my friends, you know, to help them out, but sometimes I forget.
The girl's got a nice ass. She's probably got nice legs, so it's like a 2-for-1.
Oh my god, no, I do remember because I'm not sure. I remember. Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, I wish I didn't remember, but I remember.
Ninja does not know lobby chat. I swear.
Oh, hey, it's a straight-up rematch, too. Neat.
Yes, it is. I thought maybe they'd throw in someone else because obviously Ninja did lose initially, and Song Se-nim was a decent Terran player earlier, but nope, it is that rematch. And it is 2-2 ace match rematch. Cool. In the top right on Ruins of Saras, he is the blue Protoss. It's Ninja.
That's like Rifkin levels of snooty accent there, by the way. In the top right, quite well. His opponent in the top left is going to be none other than the red Terran Pook Bunny. Quite.
It kind of sounded like you said poop bunny right there. It's a little
I mean,
rude.
is that too far off from the truth?
Oh, rude. So, last time they faced each other, it was, Ninja losing to a 1-1-1 build. He said something kind of interesting afterwards, in that he doesn't... He either said, I don't see them often, or 1-1-1 is pretty rare nowadays.
Oh, yeah, I wasn't sure if that was actually sarcasm or not when he was spouting
Right?
that. Because, like, maybe that's actually true in the lower leagues of things, but we're constantly and consistently seeing it in, like, Korean play now and other ways. Like, I'm absolutely, like, not trying to be condescending with this. It's something where maybe this actually is something they just don't see. And when I say lower leagues, I'm still talking, like, Masters League, like, low GM, NA type thing.
Yeah, absolutely. We're not saying, like, only in the bronze leagues. No. There is that difference between pro gamers and even top GM, especially in NA.
Actually, yeah, we were talking about that just recently on stream with the difference of Lily Kineen versus Ruff, where on Europe, top Grandmaster players actually don't play bottom Grandmaster players, but on North America it's very different because everyone is it's a less people, less disparity, less variety.
It's the less preferred server, too. So got people that are.
Ever since Blizzard like put it on like half Australia, no one wants to play on North America.
Yeah, I mean, it's always been the less preferred, so they just helped it even more. What's up? Although I am really pleased to see that Ladder Heroes is doing really well. I see the top 16 that I would expect to see whenever Fear Dragon tweets about it. And then, of course, you have the Blizzard-sponsored Ladder Heroes that happens once every while. Do you understand what their plans are? Is it going to be for like every major tournament, or?
No, it feels like they're just kind of shotgunning things. They're pulling a base trade TV, if you will. It feels where you're just like, oh, time to throw another event,
Maybe, because the thing is okay. Well, we have a bunker first of all. The thing is that they said in the future we'll make sure not to do it after qualifiers because there's an odd, people are already qualified and they're winning the ladder tournament just for money, which was what was supposed to happen. So they're gonna be doing it before qualifiers, and I'm just like, before which ones? Like, yeah,
So,
100% on that.
going back on the topic of this bunker for a moment, it is a little bit cute, but there's not a lot of damage that comes through a Reaper. I mean, his piling going down is, okay, you want to set up some overcharges, and he's got the right idea of how to deal with it, but will this... is this going to be an issue? I don't actually know. It's one bunker with a Reaper in it. It's hardly threatening.
Yeah, it's not going to be an issue. At most, it might mess up Ninja, though. Like, what if Poke Bunny was following it up with a 1-1-1, and he was entirely dedicated on the bunker, and just let the Hellions right on through?
Because he did, of course, again mention about the whole, like, oh, we don't see a lot of 1v1 or 1-1-1s. Maybe he's not prepared. Maybe he doesn't know how to read into it.
Yeah. It looks like Poke Bunny, was mindful that his 1-1-1 was going to be anticipated and did not go for one. Because I think, actually, in these positions, it's still a pretty good build. Vertical, it's even better, but still. He's just going to go for a macro game. So he's getting Stim, 3 Barracks opener, and that's the macro 1-1-1. So medevacs are going to be a little bit later. Going to give a little bit of peace of mind to Ninja if he scouted this, that he would have some time before having to worry about, dealing with medevac drops. He's going for a Robo, nothing cheesy on his own. When they played last, it was on Tetra Protocol, I mentioned playing Stalker all in being pretty good. Didn't get to see it I don't think he was even planning for it, but we didn't get to see it, of course, because he died before it would even happen. Ruins of Saras could have been another good Blink Stalker map for at
Oh,
least harassment
absolutely.
opportunity, but yet again, not going for that.
Not a bad thing to not go for it either. Blink has got a bit of a funny spot where it's definitely been brought back into the matchup, at least more than it was in the past, but it is still not easy to pull off in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
Now, third base does get planted down, and I mean, for Ninja's sake, let's not forget, well, this is the ace match with the entire night, and, you know, UMass wants to get a point on the board. They don't want to go out of the CSL not having won a single series. It is also this kind of just that personal rematch, you know? He did lose the first time to Poke Bunny. Doesn't want to do it twice.
Yeah. We'll see if he can. Well, I mean, he's already doing better because he hasn't, died to an attack yet. But Poke Bunny is not at that scary Terran point yet. This is actually a good opportunity for Ninja to try and get a third base, to try and get his tech up, to try and do his build to the best of his ability. But soon, in about a minute here, we're going to have Poke Bunny be aggressive. Drops just maybe a frontal attack if he scans and sees how few units there are for Ninja who's trying to get tech behind this. He could just stim and take out the Nexus. This is going to be a difficult hold when those medevacs finally pop out.
Yeah, but of course that is a little bit of timing we all have to wait on for the medevacs to in fact pop out in the first place.
It is the most important part of this matchup, so...
I'm curious though, like this might end here and now, sure, with Stim and medevacs, but I do wonder if we go to Liberators next. We actually didn't get to see again, that first time they played together was a little bit strange and different. It wasn't really macro, but Liberators have made quite the impact on the pro scene to the point where a lot of players are very upset about it, and with really only what seems to be Neeb exclusively in North America being able to deal with any Terran right now.
Yeah, he's the one making his brace look good, man. But stimming, even without the medevacs quite, it just sees an opportunity. The Photon Overchargers were not prepared. The Immortal was a little late to the party, and this could just be game. The pylons go
Based
down.
on the pylons.
Those
Looks
Marines
really
will deal
good.
with the Mortals, no problem.
Now, unfortunately, there's not a lot to protect said Immortal. I mean, like, an Immortal's good to have, don't get me wrong, but without any buff or without any fluff, everything here's starting to fall apart.
Yeah, this looks like it'll be game. The gateways have just finished up. If everything was combined together, he would not be taking as much damage, although he probably still would have lost his army. But everything coming in one at a time, not working out so hot. Probes are being pulled. Another Immortal pops out. We'll have that shield, so it takes a bit of a beating first.
This is the problem with Terran, though. They never quite die, and he's... Small amounts of Marines living, picks off the mothership core, that Immortal went down. There's really not a lot left, and here comes round 2 finally, reaching the front lines.
Some cute Marine micro, usually we see that saved just the Marauders, but there's just not enough reinforcements, there's not enough probes now, without that, even with the third base up and running, there's not enough income for Ninja, so it will be Poke Bunny taking the ace match for Rochester, and putting them in a better position to potentially take a spot of a team that is going to maybe drop out in the playoffs. I actually would not be too surprised. These are college students after all, and the actual tournaments will be in May at DreamHack Austin, the actual finals, that is. And that will be around, like, finals of college students, you know what I mean? So, I don't know. I think that their hopes could still be kind of high, but definitely not for UMass, who does go down in the series.
Well, congratulations to Poke Bunny as he does clinch it for his team here at the end of the day. So that's nice to see.
Yep. Congratulations to Rochester, who go up to now to a 2-4 score, I want to say. Yes, 2-4 score. That's it for us tonight. It was just a single best of 5 because the other team, the next series team, just forfeited.
They just like, I'm out, peace.
Yeah, exactly. If you're interested in the CSL, you can check out cstarleague.com. All the links down below as well. Twitter, YouTube, whatnot. Big thanks to the sponsors, Twitch, and of course the other. Hold on. We have a giveaway coming from their other sponsor, which is supposed to show up right now. Asus. There we go. Submit your gameplay, win prizes, win a laptop or a monitor, looking pretty cool. Our giveaway is still going down, so check out asus.cstarleague.com for more details. And next, we'll have the 2 best of 5s on Thursday. Those are going to be the big hitter teams, so UC Berkeley, UC Davis, UT Austin, and Georgia Tech. That will be cast by Fear Dragon, however, as we will be busy with our own tournament, unfortunately. And then there will be a break next week, and then we'll be back the week after that to continue with the playoffs. So that'll be pretty cool. You can follow me on Twitter at CG Gaming and Rifkin.
And you can follow me on Twitter at Riff_Kings, RIFKINGZ. Thanks for watching, everybody. Have a wonderful night, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, bye-bye.